Good morning, everyone. My name is Liz Borg. I'm the Assistant Vice President for Community Engagement at Quinsigamond Community College, and I'd like to welcome you to our 4th annual corporate breakfast. Thanks for being here today. I will be the MC for our brief time together. We will be out of here by 9 o'clock. You can take bets, and I'll keep it moving. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Ed Moore, President and CEO of Harrington Hospital. He is on the QCC Board of Trustees, and he has a few welcoming words for you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. It's a pleasure. There we go. It's a pleasure to be here, and I appreciate the opportunity to welcome you. Yes, I'm a trustee at Quinsig, and it's been a wonderful experience over the last several years. Welcome to this 4th annual corporate breakfast. I want to take a minute to acknowledge several members of the board, as well as legislators and government officials who are here today or will be here a little later. So with that, board members that I expect here are Maddie Castile, Rosalie Lawless, Senator Michael Moore, Representative Don Berthmew, Representative Kate Campanelli, Representative Dan Donahue, Representative Joseph McKenna, Representative David Meridian. For Kevin Kuros, his aide Amanda Copeland is standing in. Want to also recognize Representative Peter Durant, City Councilor Michael Gaffney, City Councilor Gary Rosen, and Trish Pope, President of the City Council as well. I would be remiss if I didn't say how important a year it was for Quinsig, our 50th anniversary. I think a lot's been happening. We've been expanding as a college, and I would say very proud to be able to state that both in Worcester and here in as well as in Southbridge. Want to just say that this breakfast that I've attended a few years is really an opportunity and a remarkable event to really be all together and share some great ideas, so appreciate that. Want to introduce Michael Moore and ask him, Senator, to say a few words. Thank you.
Good morning. It's great to be here again. A little rushing around this morning. Just got here just in time. I had to rush my kids to school this morning, so. But it is great to be here again. This is my 6th year coming here, and again my 4th year being here as the chair of the Senate Committee on Higher Education. It's been my first year as the committee chair. I think we were still coming out of the recession, and at that point the community colleges were under a lot of stress, and actually a lot of, I think that's the other thing, we had the negative press with the Boston Foundation and their supposed lack of involvement with the workforce development and workforce training. And since then we've really come a long way as far as the reforms and the better integration, which I think Quinsigamond had always been very involved in, but I think they got caught up in a lot of the negative commentary that was going on. But since then, we've actually made a lot of investments over the last 4 years in our community colleges from the reforms. And at that time when we made the reform, and I first got this committee, and I want to really thank President Carberry for it, one of the first things that was brought to my attention was the funding formula, or lack of funding formula that we had, where the 5 highest community colleges as far as enrollment were also the 5 lowest funded. And Quinsigamond was part of that. It was part of that lowest funding. And we made a lot of strides in advancing the funding for them. We established performance funding, and Quinsigamond actually, I think you got $3 million the first year, additional aid, additional funding from the state. And the past several years, we've continued that. We all know the financial pressures we are under right now, the state, with the current deficit we had, that we just did the 9C cuts, and the potential budget deficit for next year, which seems to grow every week. It went from $1.5 billion, now it's up to potentially $1.8 billion. The positive for the year to come is that in the governor's initial budget, they did receive our higher education systems, from the UMass system to the state universities to the community colleges, did receive a slight increase in the budget. The bad, and also they did increase they maintained the performance funding, which we did a lot of work on, trying to establish, which were all positives. The bad thing is that over this year and what has occurred over the last 2 to 3 years previous to this, the administration has been failing to fund the collective bargaining agreements for the staff at the community colleges. So even though they did see a bump in the appropriation in the performance funding, the lack of funding coming in to cover the collective bargaining increases really negates the increases that has taken place. And also in the governor's budget, we have the community college workforce grant program, a line item. It's about $1.5 million. That was due to the budget constraints. That was cut. We had a high performance demand program where the Board of Higher Education would work with our higher ed institutions, and they would look at the 5 career paths that were in high demand of our business community. And we had a $3 million line item, and they would try to establish programs to obviously expedite our students or workforce getting into those career fields to fill the needs of our business community. That was also cut from the governor's budget by about $3 million. So we've got some work ahead of us with the House budget and the Senate budget. Hopefully we'll be able to restore some of this funding. And this is traditional over my tenure in the legislature that I've seen, is the governor's budget's usually the low point, is the starting point. And hopefully we can actually restore some of that funding. We had a joint caucus the other day where there was Democrat and Republican parties, senators were there, and we were all voicing our opinion of the budget. And higher education funding was one of the concerns that was brought up by Ways and Means and other members. So hopefully we'll be able to restore some of the funding so that schools like Quinsigamond and other community colleges can continue to provide the workforce training programs and keep their agenda moving forward, because they've really been successful over the last 4 years advancing these programs. And actually being, as you see from my poster over there, which I had the first time to see it at the Blackstone Valley Business Expo last week. I'm really proud to be an alumni of Quinsig. When we go around to a lot of the high schools and we talk about the opportunities that are out there, and the first in higher education, students are always thinking about, well, I got to go to this 4-year school, this big name. They feel the look right in front of them, but opportunities are there that are affordable, accessible, and provide them an excellent education. And I think this is having the community colleges out there is really an important way for us to provide these skills to them. We just have to educate them that the opportunities are here. So I'm proud to be here. I want to thank President Carberry, the trustees, for all the great work you do, and for all of you for being here and supporting the school. So thank you, and President Carberry. Oh, okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator. And now, Dr. Gail Carberry.
Good morning. Thanks for getting up so early. We tend to put these on right after we change the clocks back. And so those of you who managed to roll out and get here on time, thank you so much. And if you came in a little late, that's good too. So it's always my pleasure to welcome people to our corporate breakfast. I'd like to make a few acknowledgments, if you permit me. Our foundation board has been described by the chairman of the board, who unfortunately is unable to be here today. President of our foundation board, Larry Morrison, has found himself, as many people have, under the weather, but he sends his greetings. He has always described the foundation as the Quinsigamond's best friend, and in many ways that is absolutely true. Let me acknowledge some of the board that's present, foundation board that's present. Former director Meredith Wesby, Mo Boisvert, Jack Coutone, Jeannie Hebert, Sue Mailman, who also chairs our capital campaign, and Eric Dunphy. Did I miss anyone who got up and made the sojourn up here onto Vernon Hill? Great. I'd also like to acknowledge, we're in the midst of a capital campaign, this being our 50th anniversary, and with all of the growth that Quinsigamond is undertaking in various sites, downtown, Southbridge, our main campus, our exploratories in Blackstone Valley and Marlborough. We've had a lot of friends stepping up with us. Let me acknowledge a few of those individuals who are in the room today. Coughlin Electrical, Creedon and Company, Digital Federal Credit Union, EMC Corporation, E4 Health, Fidelity Bank, Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare, Incom, Marlboro Savings Bank, Metso, Pepsi-Cola, Reliant Medical Group, St. Vincent Hospital, to name just a few of the incredible people in this community who believe in Quinsigamond Community College. Thank you for your support, and thank you for being here today. So, I'm going to talk a little bit about technology today, so I hope I use this clicker right. It's about as technical as I get. So we have a public service mission. You know, we are not your father's junior college. We are moving fast to be community agencies, ready to work with schools, with other post-secondary partners, and certainly with the corporate community to make a difference, to transform the lives of people who need the well-paying jobs that we can offer through higher education, and to drive the quality of life in our communities. We are about quality, access, and affordability. We will educate about 3,000 students this year. That's an unduplicated head count of credit students. We've had a 56% growth. We've sort of leveled off since about 2006. We grew by close to 50%, and now we're leveling off a bit. The 18-year-old population's a bit on the decline, but there are many adults who need our educational services. We have had an 85% increase in our completion in terms of the number of graduates. We've grown from about 700 to over 1,300 graduates a year. We have multiple locations. Our main campus on West Boylston Street. We have a campus in Southbridge. We've just opened our downtown Worcester Healthcare and Workforce Development Center. We have a satellite at Assabet High School in Marlborough. We have this site here at the Worcester Senior Center. And didn't this group of students do a beautiful job on this morning's breakfast? And we are in professional consulting on the Blackstone front to see if we can lift a campus there, thanks to the good graces of the legislature that provided us some exploratory funds. So that's a profile of how our graduates are looking in various areas. I know you can't make that out too well. I'll tell you that the top line is our health programming, the blue one. The technology one is the next one down. So you can see that, you know, we're making progress. We're making progress in putting those skilled people out in the workforce. So we have health and human services. We have general studies. You may have read recently that Quinsigamond Community College, Massachusetts, Fitchburg State, and Worcester State have agreed on a $30,000 baccalaureate pathway for individuals in our communities. Most of those programs are related to STEM and some high-growth fields. I did hear from someone this morning who said, "Did you get manufacturing in there yet?" And I said, "It's coming." The need. Well, 44% of all jobs in Massachusetts are what they call middle skills. Middle skills means more than a high school diploma, but maybe not necessarily a baccalaureate degree. 35% of all jobs will be in healthcare and life sciences by 2019 here in Massachusetts. 15 of the 20 fastest growing occupations in the state are in healthcare, life sciences, and IT, with 14 requiring an associate degree. Now, Quinsigamond Community College stepped up a few years ago, and under the leadership of Dale Allen, our Vice President for Community Engagement, we submitted a proposal to the Department of Labor on behalf of all of the community colleges in the state. We received $20 million, and we have begun to transform the way we do business in the training and education of individuals for careers, and we're making steady progress. And now we have gone into the Department of Labor with a second proposal, this one led by Massasoit on behalf of all of the colleges. We're very proud to say that they decided that the model that was created here in Massachusetts through Quinsigamond Community College's leadership was the prototype for what they wanted to see in the rest of the nation and formed the backbone for the request for proposals that they sent out. So Quinsigamond wants to lead. And I think we are leading the nation in a lot of innovation and change in community college workforce education. So there's a changing backdrop. We were historically the lowest funded community college in the state. As Senator Moore said, we were at $2,300 when the state average was over $4,000 and the highest was around $6,000. Thanks to the good graces of the legislature on performance funding, we're now up around $3,500. So thank you for that, and hopefully that can continue into the future. The arrival of performance-based funding has been a boon to Quinsigamond because we perform. We really believe that students can and should be able to conquer the challenges of some of these high-tech programs that we offer, healthcare, STEM, and when we put the bar in front of them and we give them a little push, they manage to get over. The opportunities are on the horizon. Let me speak a little bit about that. On our main campus, if you may have driven by recently on West Boylston Street, you'll see construction. That is what we call our Quest Center. That is a state-bonded facility. It will be about 30,000 square feet. The good work of my faculty and deans in the design of that building will mean it will be state-of-the-art, both in terms of science, engineering, and technology. Quest is big Q, small u for Quinsigamond, engineering, science, and technology. In Southbridge, you may recall that we opened a branch campus in 2009. We are fast en route to expanding that. We've got partners in the area who are working on what we are calling an Innovative Technologies Acceleration Center. Those partners include Mass MEP, they include the corporate partners from that region, they include the Southeast Chamber of Commerce, and WPI, Fitchburg State, a range of other partners, and I would ask Dale Allen in a few minutes to come up and give you a little update on where we are in that. And then in downtown, on September 2nd, we opened 73,000 square feet of space for healthcare and workforce development center. Both the Southbridge campus and the downtown campus are entrepreneurial ventures. By that I mean the state did not bond those buildings. Through creative arrangements with some real good partners, Worcester Business Development Corporation downtown, Franklin Realty out in Southbridge, we have been able to get some prime property put together, and through our creative financing mechanisms to pay those leases on a regular basis and ensure that our students are well served. So we have been thinking about how do we lead, how do we create a plan for success. The Board of Higher Education, Department of Higher Education has what they call a vision project. We've bought into it because we believe in it. The vision project talks about closing the gap between those who are graduating from college with degrees and the demands of our workforce for trained people. Our plan, Pathway to a New Prosperity, was written just as the 2008 recession hit. We believed that it was possible for us to transform the lives of students. We've since updated it because we're moving so fast that a lot of what we thought we would accomplish over a longer period of time, we accomplished pretty quickly. And then, of course, there is a plan, a foundation for the future, Massachusetts Plan for Excellence in STEM Education. That STEM education needs to reach all the way down to kindergarten and before, and bring people forward so that by the time they hit higher education, STEM is not a foreign concept. We do a lot of that. We reach into the public schools with robotics education and a range of other advancements that enable kids to explore and enjoy the possibilities. We offer dual enrollment across many of the high schools in our area, which enable our students who are coming through the pipeline to have a stronger sense of themselves as potential students, but also to prepare them largely in the areas of mathematics, to be honest. I keep telling people that M is the foundation upon which the STE rests. And we need to get our students more grounded, particularly in mathematics. So the Quest Center on the main campus, that will open in 2016, early January, we hope, and be available to our students in the not-too-distant future. The downtown campus, and we'd love to have you come and take a tour with us of that facility. It's really an incredible space. That opened in September. This is a vision for the Innovative Technology and Acceleration Center. Dale, you want to come up, say a few words about where we are on that? This is Dale Allen. He's leading with us on this front.
Well, thank you, and good morning, everyone. All right, I mean, we can wake up a little, you know. I've already been with my children for 2 hours, so you guys are like, not, down in, as the president was describing, Quinsigamond has been taking a very entrepreneurial spirit and leadership role in partnership with the Chambers of Commerce, with our business leaders, with our vocational technical school systems, with our K-12 partners, in a way to seek how to address labor market needs and the growing demands that are being placed there in the STEM fields. Southbridge, I think, is a very good example of how collectively we can transform opportunity. And so the president mentioned where we are and referenced the Innovative Technology Acceleration Center. I just want to stress to you that we've been working for 5 years in collective partnership down there. We've set a vision for expansion dramatically of our traditional general studies and transfer pathways to four-year institutions with growth in space down there, hopefully across the parking lot potentially. But we also have set a vision for innovative technology space. And we're seeking to bring in with Mass MEP, WPI, and a new addition, MIT, it's a small school in Cambridge, to partner with us to really bring to light a 10, 15, 20,000 square foot facility, which would be of shared use with equipment that is state-of-the-art, that has laboratories that include hard sciences like chemistry and biology and physics, but also photonics, optics, electronics, mechatronics potentially to some degree. And our folks in our engineering and technology sector, Kathy Wrench, the dean, Jacob Longacre, a faculty member who's just joined us in the photonics and optics area, have been leading with industry a vision that is going to be significantly different than where we've been as a state and where we have potential to go. And so right now we are hopeful that we will be able to talk more in the near future about some pending funding. We've asked for $5 million from the Mass Life Sciences Center to help us grow facilities. Much of that would be dedicated to the Southbridge campus for an ITAC facility. We also have just been asked by MIT to be, let me see, the other schools on this national partnership for a $110 million application for an integrated photonics manufacturing institute are Arizona State University, MIT, University of Rochester, Rochester Institute of Technology, and Quinsigamond Community College. And Quinsigamond Community College is going to lead a national network of training and developing a modularized curriculum in photonics and optics around the country so that community colleges can deliver stackable accelerated programming, and it will be housed in Southbridge. So we're very fortunate to be considered. Their application is one of 5 finalists nationally for this, and that goes in about 2 weeks. I was just in meetings the last 2 days, and this was a big part of the conversation of how do we finalize that. So we're very hopeful. In similar way, we're also working, I was going to go ahead to the WPI piece, I'm sorry. Keep going? All right, I'll jump in. So one of the other things that we do collectively, and I'll sidebar and come back, is we do work with all of you and our industry partners on internships, joint curriculum, and a shared space notion. I just referenced that in Southbridge. And that concept in many ways started with our friends with Mass MEP, Manufacturing Extension Partnership, which we have a unique national model with, where we have stackable accelerated programming with Mass MEP that articulates to QCC. We're going to expand that, and we're going to expand it across our state, but here in Southbridge and Worcester as well. But that sharing of space is a hallmark of what we're trying to work on. And the internships and that joint curriculum has to be done with industry If we talk in the life sciences and the biomanufacturing space, our friends at AbbVie have been leading the way with us to help us deliver programming in their space, and then our students to serve their internships there. And the other piece I wanted to reference and highlight is, over the last couple of years, in addition to traditional manufacturing and other STEM-related programs, we've been working a lot with WPI. They have an unbelievable facility right downtown, right, the Biomanufacturing Technology Center. And we've worked with our faculty, our Assistant Vice President of Academic Affairs, Nancy Schoenfeld, has led an effort with their faculty to develop articulated programming where students, similar to that Mass MEP to QCC model, students can go and use a facility and programming at WPI, can transfer it over or articulate it to QCC, and then can go on to a certificate program, associate's degree, and or on to a bachelor's degree. And for us, this is a huge addition that allows use of facilities, use of shared talents, and is able to meet the needs of the marketplace. So we are hopeful that that will grow even further, and again, they're going to be expanding with us into the Southbridge region as we get additional facilities online, so we're very appreciative of that. I just referenced in passing for you a few things, but I'll just make sure you can see them, because this entrepreneurial model that the President described is something different for higher education, in particular public higher education. When we ask for shared resources, we put the first step in. We always ask people to join us and meet their needs with us. We have received word that we are pending on this $5 million application for additional capital support. Last year, we were able to announce the Secretary of Housing and Economic Development had provided us $2 million in additional resources to support equipment needs to deliver the programming that I just described down in Southbridge, as well as up on the main campus. And one thing you may not know as much about, and it will continue to grow, is we were one of 6 institutions nationally to receive a significant contribution from Siemens Corporation for their PLM software, which is this unbelievable software used in the innovative technology space. It does everything from research and development, product management. It has online modules, about 10,000 of them, where you can deliver unbelievable training and see everything hands-on and not necessarily have the equipment. It's used all over the world, this software. They provided Massachusetts a $666 million contribution of software, and the 2 institutions that led that effort and receipt were Massachusetts Manufacturing Extension Partnership. Yes, we work a lot together. And Quinsigamond Community College. And so QCC has a license of $121 million worth of software. And down in Southbridge, we will actually be developing in that Innovative Technology Center a Siemens training lab so that people can come in and get trained, and it'll be integrated across our curriculum. And we're also working nationally with them and some other colleges on some stackable models nationally. Gail, do you want to finish up? Turn it back to you. So thank you for letting me be here, and turn it back to the President.
So, how can we help each other? We need to know your workforce needs. Remember, it takes us 2 years at least to produce an associate degree graduate, so think long term. Let us know what your needs are, not only in terms of numbers, but in terms of where your companies are going. Help us shape the curriculum. Actively participate through our advisory boards. Give us your best counsel. Our graduates can only be as good as what you help us make them to be. Help us, advocate for expanded local resources. We're in the midst of a capital campaign. If you know somebody who believes in what we do, please help them contact us. Please help them be part of this movement for change in our community. And if you can, contribute your time, your talent, and your resources. I know I'm preaching to the choir to many of you in this room. You've already stepped up so mightily with all of that. We need to bring more people. We need to be evangelists in our various sectors. We need to get people understanding that the state can't do it all. Quinsigamond Community College this year has a $78 million operating budget. $20 million of that will come from the state. So as we progress, as we build facilities, as we shape the resources to make central Massachusetts the gem that we know it is in terms of the economy, please work with us as best you can. I see Jeff Turgeon in the room. Hi, Jeff. Jeff is the executive director of our Workforce Investment Board in Central Massachusetts, another prime partner. Thanks for coming, Jeff. So, that's who we are historically, that beautiful picture there, more to come. And I think you will see Quinsigamond Community College, as our campaign slogan says, we are on the rise. This is our RISE campaign, regional investment in service and education to this community. We got a great panel going to talk, so let me step aside.
Okay, so we do have a great panel, and at this time I'd like to ask the panelists to take a seat up on the platform. Our panel is entitled Middle Skills Jobs, Higher Education, and a Specialized STEM Economy. And Jacob Longacre, who's an assistant professor of electronics engineering technology, is going to be the moderator. And as soon as we get situated here, right. So, starting from the left of the platform, we have Dan Martirosian, Senior Operations Manager of the Biomanufacturing Education and Training Center at WPI. At the center, we have Professor Betty Lauer, who is a QCC faculty member in Computer Systems Engineering Technology. And we have Michael Dederando, President and CEO of INCOM. So please have a seat and enjoy.
Good morning. I'm Jacob Longacre. I was welcomed to Quinsigamond just a little under a year ago, and I'm a new professor there. I will be supporting the STEM education, especially in the photonics area. And then I'd like the panelists to introduce themselves.
Sure, I'm Dan Martirosian. Again, I'm Senior Operations Manager at WPI's Biomanufacturing Education and Training Center. I spent 17 years in the industry. I'm a graduate from Quinsig and a guardian as well. I joined WPI about 3 years ago, and my role there was basically to oversee the facility and basically support my team in providing biomanufacturing education and workforce development. So we do that both for corporate companies, and we do that for individuals as well that want to get into the industry or that are already in industry and want to expand their skills. Thank you.
My name is Professor Betty J. Lauer, and I'm the program coordinator and a full-time faculty member of the Computer Systems Engineering Technology program at QCC. That program is the program that obviously computer-related IT, it's really infrastructure, computers and computer networking, that aspect of IT. My job as program coordinator is I'm responsible for leading the faculty in developing up-to-date curriculum and making sure in our classrooms that we have the appropriate equipment to teach with. In addition to that, I also do a lot of K-12 outreach with the Worcester Public Schools, and actually throughout the state now with the at-scale project, the STEM Council's at-scale project selected the robotics program here in Worcester to replicate throughout the state. I'm very passionate about that. I love the K-12 outreach here in Worcester, where we offer some of the only after-school STEM activities in the Worcester Public Schools.
Good morning, I'm Michael Dederando. I'm the president and CEO of INCOM Inc. We manufacture fiber optic components for the defense, medical, scientific, and display markets. I've been at INCOM for 23 years. I've worked in the manufacturing departments, I've worked in engineering, and now in a leadership role. And I look in the mirror and I think of myself as young, but I'm a dinosaur when it goes to how much things have changed in our industry in the 23 years that I've been there. And the challenges that we face really revolve around the STEM. Our target markets are STEM. We have learned a long time ago that we can't compete in the commodities-based markets with overseas competition, and so we look to STEM technologies. And the speed at which that has moved and is moving now are the challenges that create for us. And so this topic is very timely and something that we're heavily invested in.
Thank you. So what we're interested in doing now is having a conversation, basically, about, as President Carberry introduced, middle skills, these areas where a high school degree is not enough, but we may not need quite up to the engineer or the bachelor's degree. So how can we provide the employees that are necessary for this growing role? So what we'd like to do is start with how things have progressed. How has the STEM economy changed over the past years, and how do we see it progressing into the future? So, Michael, do you want to start?
Sure. So, how have things changed is that, visibility is zero. The customers need something new and they need it tomorrow. They don't, the focus right out of the gate isn't on cost so much, it's on how to help them accomplish their goals in what's always kind of a project that's behind or a technology that's behind. It almost never turns into a production line ready process that you can then run for 6 to 10 years and harvest from. It's the business model actually is the ramp up, the growth, the development, and then eventually the transition to something new. It's a constant state of flux, a constant state of transition, and the ability to, people ask, and one of the questions is what do you need for employees? And my answer is I have absolutely no idea, but I know I'm going to need them really fast, and I know I'm going to need them in decent sized numbers. And so to answer the question more directly, Dr. Carberry hit the nail on the head, in my opinion, is the foundational aspect of the employee that we need is rooted in mathematics. If you don't have that, you don't have the foundational versatility that we need to be able to move and be aggressive and transition from one technology to the next. So what we're looking for, the days of we have an engineering department that figures out how to make things, and then we have an operating staff that actually executes that process. Those are gone for us. I shouldn't say they're gone, but it's transitioning more to a hybrid approach of, we need engineers who are more practical and on the floor and participating, and we need operators who are more technical, acting more like problem solvers and more like engineers than operators. So it's what we call middle skills is kind of a blended engineer operator. That luckily, because the value proposition of that is so high, wage pressure is not a big issue for us. It's more of how do we get performance and achieve the goals of our customers, and it's rooted in what do we need for employees? We need somebody who is ready for that versatility, is engaged, and is kind of inspired by doing something new and going on to the next challenge, as opposed to, maybe my father's workforce, which loved coming in and doing the same thing every day. That doesn't exist anymore for us, and if it does, that business is long gone overseas. And so, I don't know if that answered the question. But.
Anyone else want to? Sorry.
Well, excuse me. Well, I think from the educational view, the importance of getting students ready to enter into STEM careers is really important to understand. I think that you have to start introducing STEM ideas to students very early on, even as early as pre-K, right? But this is something that we've been trying to do in Worcester for quite some time. We find that when we introduce students to a wide variety of STEM topics, if you introduce them to a wide variety, they tend to choose and find things that they like and they enjoy and motivate them to learn more. And that is what we try to do in the after-school programs. We also want to let students understand that STEM jobs are 20% of the economy. Half of those, half of that 20% doesn't require four-year degrees, but require more than just high school degrees. They are also less prone to economic downturns. The increase in the future STEM jobs are 3 times the national average. So these are some really good jobs and that we need to prepare students for.
I guess the only thing I'll add is, if you look at the STEM economy, the way it's grown tremendously in the last 10 years, it's because STEM education actually It causes, the more we learn, the smarter we become, and the more innovative we become. And that just, because we're learning so fast, it's difficult, again, to keep up. So we constantly have to educate and look forward and understand where the opportunities are. So.
Okay. Anyone else would like to add?
I actually have a question. I don't know if it's time to throw it in there. Hi, Jeff Turgeon. I'm with the local Workforce Investment Board. Michael, you had noted some changes to roles at your organization. I know I just saw there's a national group out there that put out this video, and they talk about how there's a universal principle that there's a ratio kind of involved for staffing purposes of like a 1-to-7. 1 being someone with an advanced degree that's doing like the R&D. 2 that would be needing like a bachelor's degree that would be kind of leading the effort from a managerial point. And then 7 needing middle skills to be the technicians and your frontline staff. And they kind of say that, you know, if you look over time, that basic principle hasn't changed, and it's not going to really change. Do you feel that that still holds true? And while that 7 would be middle skills, do you still feel that kind of ratio is still in play? Or?
So I'm sorry, I'm not sure I understood. So 1-to-7 ratio of employees. So for every one.
We're an organization. So for every advanced degree, as an economy, we need 2 bachelor degrees and then 7 people with post-secondary skills, but not a bachelor's necessarily.
Yeah. So I, not sure about those ratios historically. That seems, and I'm not sure if we're talking middle skills or not. If you're asking me, do I believe that ratio will continue to evolve higher on the 7 end? The 7 end will grow. So that from the standpoint of the demands that if there's something below that middle skills job, in my opinion, in manufacturing in our sector, those are going to shrink. And what's going to grow is those jobs are going to transition to what you call the 7, the middle skills ones, and that's going to become a higher percentage.
I guess the point of that was we don't need to be pushing everyone into a bachelor's program.
Absolutely not.
We should
Absolutely
really
not.
be looking at post-secondary certificates and maybe associates to be kind of, the need is much greater to be kind of there as opposed to kind of pushing everyone into a 4-year kind of.
Sorry, so maybe I'll answer it a little differently. Thank you for clarifying. Is if my limited understanding of economics, if you look at it from a supply and demand standpoint, the demand is certainly exceeding the supply for that 7 number, and whereas it's always a challenge to find good engineers and higher level people, is we have those positions filled fairly. We tend to go east to get them. We tend to have to go a little further away, but we don't have the same challenge filling those roles as we do right now filling that middle skills job. We really, it's the demand exceeds the supply significantly. So from what do we need to produce as a community, as an educational community, that's where the big hole is right now.
I could like to speak to that a little as well. In the biotechnology industry is a great example of, I don't know exactly what the ratios are, but if you really think of percentage, 30% of the people in the industry are really the people that are making the drugs, making the product. So the science is done, the science is completed, the drugs, the genes have been spliced, the cells have been modified, and now it's time to make the donuts, right? So you need the people out there to make the donuts. You still need advanced skills. You have to understand it, you have to have a decent theoretical background, but you don't need a bachelor's degree and you don't need a PhD to operate a fermenter or to purify proteins. You just need that good foundation.
I agree 100% with.
The other thing I would add a little bit is, at least in my experience, that 7 may now be a more broken down thing, and that 7 has to be a very dynamic group, because at least in my experience, your ability to shift from this to that and be able to work in not just the electrical or the this, but in all the interconnected areas has become more and more important.
Yeah, dynamic is a great word. So we need people who come to work every day and say, what's my next challenge? Not, I want to do what I did yesterday. Mm-hmm. And that dynamic nature of employee, not just from a skills. I mean, the skills are important. That's correct. The skills are necessary, but just even from from an inspirational standpoint of this is, I want a new challenge every day. I want to participate in, splicing a genome. I want to participate in, in developing, pharmaceuticals for cancer research. Is that, we do, the nice thing about STEM is if we make the effort to get people interested and understand the significance of what it is they're working on, you can create that inspiration, but it's, you kind of have to start, and it's a lot of work up front to say, okay, how do I make people understand that what you're doing is not, just busy work to put money in the pockets of the investors of the company. What you're doing is to find solutions for things that people need.
This brings up a side question that I'd like to bring up, which is, you have mentioned inspiration and motivation. How do we provide that as well? Is that an issue, and do we need to work toward that with some of the students and young people of today?
Well, I'll start only because I know the least about this, and so then I'll let the experts talk about it. And I'll make it as I'll put it in as simple terms for myself is, I really hate hearing people who say I'm not good in math. I think we've allowed that to be a cop-out excuse for many. There's this notion that, well, I'm just not good at it, so I don't have to do it. I have an 8-year-old son who, when he has to do his 3rd grade math homework, throws himself on the ground. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. And then I go watch him play Minecraft and do 7th grade math without even thinking about it. And it's not aptitude. It's not capability. It's not that he can't do it. It's just this idea that math as it's presented as what's this times this is just not inspiring him. But when he is inspired, I mean he does amazing things. So my heart goes out to the educators of the world is how the heck do you manage that? How do you, take what we teach out of books and create an inspirational environment? I couldn't do it. I don't know how to do it, but the challenge is there. I think they're capable. I think our workforce is capable of doing great things. I just don't think that they know it.
And the last part of this that I'd like to bring up, how now that we find this challenge, do we as educators and industry and community work together to resolve this? What ways can we find to move forward the best, most efficient way?
Well, I think a lot of it it's really outreach. I mean, you want to get, to follow on your response, you really want to get young people excited about STEM education and excited about the opportunities. They don't really understand the applications. So, I mean, for someone, my son's sitting there playing the video games, and he loves the video games, and he enjoys it, but, maybe if you start letting him think about, how to create these games. It's simple math. Start understanding simple math, and that's where these games come from. So it's like you get them more thinking about, well, geez, maybe I could create something like this in the future. Get them excited when they're younger. We do a lot of outreach for instance, in the summertime, we bring in middle school kids to actually do hands-on experiments in the labs. They extract DNA from a banana, and they think it's the greatest thing in the world. But they leave there excited, and they're not thinking about a career in a STEM area when they get there. I mean, maybe it's a little bit intriguing, but they really get to see the importance of it. We demonstrate we went over the top once. I believe we made a couple of the kids cry because we showed them a video, kids that were really sick with diseases, and we explained to them that, what we do is to try to help these kids, and they're like, gee, we really, really felt bad, but we understand, and this is really cool that, I can make a difference when I get older. So it's really outreach and getting young people excited about these areas early on.
Well, and I think doing that before they reach middle school, or at least by the time they reach middle school, I think that studies show that students form their impression of math and science by the time or around middle school. So, one of the things that we try to do at QCC in our outreach programming is we try to provide hands-on activities as early in their education cycle as possible so that they get exposed to these things. Mm-hmm. We take a approach that STEM is everywhere, and it is everywhere, and we can show students how the law of physics affects their golf game, for example, and really get them to understand that it is everywhere and motivate them. We think that if we expose them to lots of different concepts, that they will find some that motivate them, that they're interested in, and they want to pursue further.
I'd also like to give a little bit of a promotion to Betty's robotics work. I got to be involved for the first time this year, and to see students and younger kids seeing not only the mathematics of things, the science of it, but to see how it actually works in the world. That you don't just put something together and mathematically it works, but that balance plays a part, dynamic balance when one robot runs into another and so forth, so that it's the actual physical world that you are really involving. It's not just a bunch of numbers. So what way can we partner beyond the traditional ways in these areas as industry, as education, and so forth, that might promote this process?
Well, I think that internships provide students of all ages access to see what a real STEM workplace is really like. You know, many students in the Worcester Public Schools don't have that exposure at home, and being able to go into a business and see careers that they just wouldn't otherwise be able to see is important.
I agree. That is tremendously valuable for us as well. And I even think it's on our community, the manufacturers, to go a little further and to understand how what we're doing applies to something that they can recognize in the real world. So it's you know, the internship gets to the next level of what career will it be. But you know, for us to motivate our employees and to motivate the interns themselves, it has to go a little further into what types of technologies are you contributing to, and how, you know, and what types of things excite you. Now there's, you know, we had one who, you know, ran away panicked because we were building a laser weapon for missile defense, but it's like, oh, you know, I didn't realize you did that. But in general, you know, 98% of what we do, people are much more intrigued by the use of our products than how we make them. And that's how we try to keep our employees kind of engaged in the process. And you know, our process is great, very proud of it, but where our stuff goes is much more interesting than how it is that we make it.
Do we have any questions? Come back to you.
Thank you. One thing I'd like to add, just as QCC looks at this very major expansion in Southbridge in the technology realm, I really want to figure out how we can work more closely with the STEM workforce, not only in that region, but definitely in that region, to engage with us in the classroom as well as internships in the workplace. We will never have enough faculty. We'll have more faculty, but we're never going to have enough faculty to do it by ourselves. So I'd really like to look at more creative ways that we could use the STEM workforce in the classroom, and not only teaching, but also working with us on promoting. We really have to help. It isn't enough just to tell people there are good jobs. We have to really be creative about how we promote the fields, because they're misunderstood and frankly suffer from poor images in most cases, and we have to work on that together. So I'm really looking forward. We've done a lot of work in that area, and I'm really looking forward to looking at ways we can do more of that.
So I guess from the manufacturing side is we know we have a need, and so we're ready to help. I don't know the first thing about what would inspire a student or what that would take, and so I think not to put it back on the educational community, but tell us what you need from us, and we're ready to help. And hopefully we'll do a decent job for you there, because we know that for us to survive, we want to break down the myth that if you go work for a manufacturer, you're just you're working for the man, and they're going to take advantage of you and abuse you, and they're just some big fat guy sitting in an office smoking a cigar, right? I mean, that's what we are. We are as invested in breaking down that myth as anybody, as the educational community. And so I can only speak for INCOM, but for INCOM is you tell us what you need, and we'll make the resources available.
There's one
Yeah, I have a meeting to go to, but I'm teasing.
Yes, we've found that it's really critical to collaborate with the industry. To really, if you're not talking to the industry, then you don't really understand what their needs are. So with collaborating with the industry, you understand what their needs are, you can think a little bit more out of the box about the curriculum and what you're really delivering and how you're delivering it. Getting involved with industry to actually get people, students, participants, young kids, touring some of these facilities so they actually see what's going on and understand it, again, and also outreach to the legislature so they understand. I mean, STEM education, it's not inexpensive, right? Technology is expensive, the equipment is expensive. It's important for us, I think, to work collaboratively and make sure that we're not competing and duplicating efforts. I think an example of what QCC is doing in the photonics area in Southbridge and what we're doing in the Worcester campus at the BETC is a good example of that, where photonics is a good place that that's a need right now, as opposed to duplicating the effort that we have at the Biomanufacturing Education Training Center to do biomanufacturing workforce training. So with those shared resources, it's not putting all the eggs in one basket and distributing everything equally and more beneficially.
Mo Boisvert. I'm a member of the foundation, and we are currently looking at an advanced fellowship program where we're really looking to develop on a competitive basis advanced studies students who will do a fellowship that requires the foundation to put up $5,000, and we're looking for businesses to put up $5,000 to fund a fellowship for an advanced student. I'm curious to know if we're on the right track. Would businesses be interested in getting students that have an individual faculty advisor at that level of involvement within the business that would include the business participating in the funding of that fellowship?
So, without answering that directly, yes or no, is when you look at what we spend to find a student that would have that type of potential, whether it's through a headhunter service or employment service, and you're paying 25% of a first-year salary. I mean, the idea of spending $5,000 to kind of invest and have a line into somebody who is a vetted, a vetted known resource and type of a student that you're looking for, it seems like a no-brainer. I don't necessarily know how that would work, kind of give and take, but the idea, if you told me, hey, if you invest $5,000, you're going to get one of our star pupils who we know, has gone through this program, I would say, where do I sign? That's cheap money.
All right, I'd like to thank our panelists for providing this and turn it back over.
Thanks all of you for a fantastic discussion, and I would be remiss if I did not mention the help of our academic deans in batting around ideas for panel topics and people who can participate, because our deans are certainly in touch with industry and their colleagues, and they know what needs to be addressed in higher ed. So Kathy Wrench, Jim Brown, Leslie Horton, Chip Aites, Jane June, and Kathy Manning, and also AVP Pat Schmall. Thank you very much. Okay, so it's 2 minutes to 9, I believe, and I think we are ready to have our send-off from the QCC Foundation, one of the officers, Jeannie Hebert, and also the chair of the RISE campaign, Sue Mielman. Thanks for coming, and then we'll hear from Gail. Thank you.
Thanks, Liz. I'm pinch hitting for Larry today, but I'll try to keep it short and sweet. We all know Larry's a wonderful guy, but he likes to expound. Who thought 50 years ago that we'd be standing here discussing what we're discussing today? I'm sure our founding fathers never let that thought cross their mind. But Mike DiToronto just said something, and he said, when you're inspired, you do great things. And that's what we're seeing happening here, from our dedicated staff and faculty, to our amazing leadership through Dr. Carberry, to our supportive and hardworking legislators, in our area that keep things running and going. That's what's going on here at Quinsigamond Community College. I am always inspired when I sit at the table at our foundation meetings by the talent and the caliber of people that are sitting beside me. And I'm about to introduce one of those now. You know, I have a little British mom, and she was just a tiny little lady, 4'11", weighed about 100 pounds. But she, you didn't mess with Stella. And she had these wonderful euphemisms, and one of them was, if you want something done, ask the busy person. And this is certainly the definition of that. Sue Mailman is president of Coughlin Electrical Contractors. She's chairman of the Worcester Regional Chamber of Commerce Board. She serves on several community boards and committees, and she's always there whenever I need advice. She can pick up the phone or email me some information, and I'm sure I'm not the only one she does that for. So it's my pleasure to introduce to you the chairman of our RISE campaign, Sue Mailman.
Michael, so I own a fourth generation electrical contracting company, and your comments about dynamic engineering talent in the office that are going to we got to solve practical problems every day. So thank you for being here. The whole panel was great for a contractor to listen to and to understand what our business needs are, that our foremen, that the people that run our work, the skill level has to be here, but it doesn't have to be here. And it's a fun time in the world, which makes it very fun for me to be able to chair the campaign at Quinsig. I want to tell you it's a $5 million campaign. We've been at it for just less than 2 years. We are at $3.4 million. Hooray, thank you. And the fun part begins in earnest, because now it's the little dollars that we're chasing. But I hope we have a tape of that, because we want to take it on the road and say, this is why we're doing the work that we're doing. And Dale's giving me the thumbs up. We do have the tape, so that's awesome. So thank you to everybody for your support, and please know that us employers believe in the work that we're doing. That's why we sign up to help here. And this is going to be a blast, you guys. June 17th, a funny thing happened on the way to the future. It's a 50th anniversary celebration. This event and the proceeds from the event will help us with our campaign, and we hope all of you are there, and we look forward to it. And thank you for listening for a minute. And I think Gail wraps it up. Thanks.
I'm cognizant of your time. Quick thank yous. Thank you to Liz Borg and the folks on the community engagement team and all who helped put this together. Thanks to the panelists. Thank you so much. Thanks to Pat Hutchinson, who is the chair of our hospitality and recreation program, and her wonderful students who put on this breakfast this morning. And thanks to all of you for coming. I just want to tell you that on March 25th at 10 a.m. at QCC in the Harrington Learning Center, the conference area below, I think that's where it is, Conference Center, yeah. Yes, I remember doing the dominoes, moving things, because we're always so busy there. Yes, in the Harrington Learning Center. The Joint Ways and Means Committee will be meeting at Quinsigamond, 10 a.m. on the topic of public safety and the judicial. You are most welcome to attend. I know it'll be interesting conversations going on there as well. Again, thank you for coming. Safe trips to your places of employment, and have a wonderful day and a wonderful weekend.